What if one day you woke up to the headline, China becomes the world's leading superpower? What would that mean for you, for your country, and for the world as we know it? Would it be the beginning of a new era or the end of one? Stay with me, because what you're about to hear might challenge everything you thought you knew about global power. For decades, the United States has been the undisputed leader in global affairs. But today, the world is watching closely as China rises, economically, militarily, and diplomatically. With its Belt and Road Initiative reaching across continents, its tech giants dominating global markets, and its influence expanding in Africa, South America, and Asia, China isn't just catching up. It's actively reshaping the rules of the global game. But what exactly would change if China took over as the global leader? Let's start with global governance. Under US leadership, international institutions like the UN, the World Bank, and the IMF have operated under a Western framework, emphasizing democracy, human rights, and free markets. China, however, takes a more state-centric approach, emphasizing sovereignty and non-interference. That means if China leads, we might see a world where authoritarian models gain legitimacy, where criticism of government is less tolerated globally, and where digital surveillance becomes a normalized tool of governance. Economically, a Chinese-led world would likely favor state-owned enterprises, massive infrastructure spending, and long-term planning over free market spontaneity. The yuan might rival or even replace the dollar in international trade. And digital payment systems like Alipay or WeChat Pay could become global standards. But with that comes deeper state control over finance and data, a sharp contrast to the West's emphasis on individual financial freedom. When it comes to technology, the shift might already be happening. China is leading in 5G, AI development, and even space exploration. But here's the catch. Many Chinese tech platforms operate under strict government regulations and censorship. If these standards spread globally, will freedom of information be sacrificed for efficiency and control? Geopolitically, the US has maintained a global network of alliances, from NATO to partnerships in the Indo-Pacific. China, in contrast, relies on economic dependency to exert influence and prefers bilateral over multilateral agreements. This could mean a less stable but more transactional world order, where power dynamics shift based on who controls the flow of money and resources, not shared values. Now, let's talk about culture. Hollywood, fast food, and pop music have been some of America's most powerful exports. But Chinese influence is growing. Through media, Confucius Institutes, and cultural diplomacy, will the world consume more Chinese narratives, values, and traditions in the future? Possibly. But the question is, will this cultural shift be organic or state-orchestrated? Of course, not everything would be negative. China has lifted hundreds of millions out of poverty, invests heavily in green technology, and promotes infrastructure development in places the West often overlooks. A world led by China could be more focused on practical development and long-term stability, especially in the global South. But here's what we must remember. Global leadership is not just about economic power or military strength. It's about the values we choose to elevate. And while China's rise is undeniable, whether it changes the world for better or worse will depend not only on China itself, but on how the rest of us respond. So will the world change if China takes over global leadership? Absolutely. The real question is, how will it change? And are we prepared for that change? If this video gave you a new perspective or made you think a little deeper, consider subscribing to the channel. I've got more thought-provoking content coming your way. Let's explore the future together. Hit that like button, share this with a friend, and I'll see you in the next one.